Okay, great. Now let's quickly go through the parts of a circle first, and then we'll see the 7 theorems. So we know we are going to have to know 7 circle theorems that we're going to use, but for us to understand them, we have to know these parts of a circle that we're about to do. Okay, we're about to cue off some errors that people have in them that disturb their understanding, or that should I say perturb, okay, that block your understanding. Okay, so now let's go ahead and let's do the 7. So first thing we're going to go through is a very simple part of a circle, which is called the center. So first thing is going to be this part, which I've put in green, is going to be the center. And then if we know the center, so the first part is right at the center, and it's in the middle of the circle, and it's going to be a center. It's a point which is right in the middle, okay? And again, we have a second point, which you got to know is this one, which we call the circumference, okay? So we have the center and the circumference. Circumference is just the outside boundary of your circle, okay? First thing, so easy, right? Yeah. Now let's go to the next part. What is the next thing we want to know is a line that comes from the center and goes to the circumference. Okay, that line is called the radius. So let's go ahead and let's put it. That is the radius. The radius is a line that comes from the center and ends at the circumference. Okay, that's going to be your radius. Now, the next thing which we want to know is a line, okay, is a line that comes from one side of the circle and goes to the other side of the circle. Let's put it in pink, passing through the center, okay? I've put it in pink and I'm showing it like this. So the line that comes from one side of the circumference and goes to the other side, passing through the center, that line is called the diameter, okay? Diameter is a line that comes from one side of the circumference, goes to the other side, passing through the center. And it cuts your circle into 2 equal pieces, okay? If we can show them like this, one is going to be shaded, the other one unshaded. This shaded region, okay, maybe let me do it outside. Let me put a nice half. The diameter has cut our circle into a half, and this half is what we call a semicircle. So when you hear the word or see the word semicircle, then there has to be a diameter, okay? A diameter is the one that cuts your circle into a semicircle. You can't have a semicircle without it being cut by the diameter. So this line that cuts it would be your diameter, okay? And then it makes 2 semicircles, okay? Semicircle number 1 and semicircle number 2, okay? Great. Now, what about a line which is very similar to a diameter but is not? And it is a line that comes from one side to another but without passing through the center. We don't care where it is. It could be high up, it could be low down over here. Wherever it is, if it comes from one side to the other without passing through the center, what do we call that line? Well, that line is called the chord. Okay? So the chord is a line that comes from one side to the other without passing through the center. And what it does is it breaks down your circle into 2 parts, but the 2 parts are not equal. They're not semicircles, okay? Breaks down your circle into 2 parts. These 2 parts are called segments. And the bigger one is called the major segment, okay? And the smaller one is now called the minor segment. Okay, they are made by the chord. So when you hear the word major segment, minor segment, you must be able to locate your chord. You must find the chord. Whenever you see or see the word segment, well, it's like when you're reading and you go through the word segment, then look for the chord whenever the word segment is mentioned, right? Then the next thing which we're going to do is, what about when we have it like this? What is this called? When you have, let me put it, should I put it like this? Where's the pink crayon? What about when I have 2 radii? Okay, like this. Okay, we don't really care how they do it, but here I've just made them make a nice pizza slice. Then, what are the parts going to be called when you cut a section like this? This, when you have two radii cut off a section, they make two parts, okay? Two parts of a circle, right? The outside I'm going to put for you like this. Or should I start with the inside? The inside is called sector, okay? And it has two. The major sector, which is the bigger one, and the minor sector, which is the smaller section, okay? The minor sector. And then the outside, this boundary on your sector, this boundary that goes, right? I don't know why my highlighter is not allowing me to make a nice curve. But anyway, this boundary outside is what we then call the arc. So here is your arc. I'm putting it in green. Here is your arc right here. That is an arc. The arc is the part of the circumference. Okay? One big misconception that people do is to think the arc is the inside. No, it's not. The arc is the part of the circumference that is on the outside. Okay? Great job. Now let's do two more things and we're done. First is we're going to talk about this diagram. When you see a nice 2, 3, 4, four-sided shape like this. Okay? It might be uglier than this. But when you see a quadrilateral, any shape with four sides is called a quadrilateral. And it has all three vertices. Vertex means corner. When we say vertices, we're meaning the corners, sitting at the circumference. This is called a cyclic quadrilateral. Okay, it's not really part of a circle, but we are going to see this word being mentioned in our circle theorems. So you gotta know this one. Okay, you have to know. And then the last thing which we're going to do is going to be this. When you have a line that comes and just touches your circle, this line is going to be called the tangent. And the point where it touches the circle is going to be called the point of contact. That's what it's called. It's called the point of contact. And this is the point, okay, where the tangent touches the curve. And you're done. Okay? Great. So that is it for this. And you should know now the theorems better now that you know the parts of the circle. Okay? Bye for now. See you in the next video.